Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 3, Episode 8 of Trollhunters Tales of Arcadia, titled For the Glory of Merlin. So Arg manages to, stop them from being crushed because he's the goat, but he's not really strong enough to get them out of the cave then. But luckily, they notice a small opening, which they all escape through, and eventually it leads to Merlin's tomb, covered in cobwebs. Jim takes the stone from his amulet and walks up to him, and it awakens Merlin, who pops up and exclaims, I thought you'd be older and taller. He just starts talking to everybody, and right off the bat, you get the feeling that, this guy's a dick. But he's a dick with jokes, because he proceeds to say, Jim, I knew you'd come because I am your father. Before stating that he can see the future, which means he used what little power he had to watch Empire Strikes Back. A man of culture, I see. Anyway, he takes them on a blast of the past to the Battle of Killahead and shows that while the trolls were fighting Gunmar, he was fighting Morgana. And this whole this is a thing I have with Wizards. Because not only does it kind of retcon the books, okay, that's fine. Everybody who is a nerd kind of understands that the canonicity of things are TV shows and movies, and then books and whatever come secondary. So it's fine that they retcon the books, but they were actively retconning what they've already shown in the show. Because in Wizards, they show that Arthur and the Knights of Camelot fought in Killahead, but there was not a knight in sight. And then he proceeds to say that Morgana is probably as old as I am, if not older, which again, kinda seems like a retcon. But whatever, so he informs Jim that the way to escape is the amulet. He proceeds to piece it back together, adding in a piece of Claire's, her hair clip, which I think is kind of cool, because now Jim has a piece of Claire, a small piece anyways, whenever he fights, which is awesome, which is a little cool. He ends up becoming a waterbender and parting the damn ocean and diverting it to crush the opening, where they proceed to escape. Meanwhile, at the house, they're talking, and then there's a knock on the door. They're worried about them not getting text from their kids, and there's a knock on the door. It's a police officer. It's Officer Scott, Darcy's father, I believe, who comes in and notices Dictatious, and Nana proceeds to knock him the fuck out and say, quit being a baby. Help me drink the bottle. Okay, Nana. Then, Mama Nunez proceeds to have the idea of, after somebody says acting, they proceed to pretend that this is all part of a play. So when Officer Scott wakes up, he sees Barbara and Strickler fighting while he's in his troll form, and she proceeds to beat the shit out of him with a broomstick before declaring, always the third rule, which of course makes Strickler be like, end scene, alright, that's enough, cut, scene. Of course, unfortunately for them, Officer Scott wants to be an actor, so he kind of joins them until they finally manage to kick him out, which now kind of makes me think, oh my god, are they gonna have to actually try and put on a play? I don't think they ever mention this so-called play again, but it'd be funny if, from now on, they have to kind of work on getting a play going. Like, it starts off as a chore trying to make this play, but as it goes on, they eventually find out they love it. I know it's not, because there's like 13 episodes, and this is episode 8, so they're not going to do that, but I feel like it'd be the funniest shit if it did. But whatever. So, Also, Gunmar goes back to Troll Market and starts to awaken Morgana, which is something Merlin mentioned, that he kind of put her to sleep as long as he could, and as long as he could is up. Meanwhile, Engelrot comes back and he's pissed off because you just left him for dead, and he gets pissed, and then Morgana says, "My champion," and then basically says, you know, you're my champion. I best not catch you slacking, you know? Because if I catch you not doing your job, I'm going to kill you myself. Which is like, ugh. This episode was pretty fun. It introduced us to Merlin. Merlin proper. After, you know, hearing his damn name for the entirety of the series. For the glory of Merlin. You know, I'm going to be honest. I'm glad they kind of made this guy a dick. Because for a guy who created the amulet and had the incantation to be for the glory of Merlin, he has to be a dick. Like, you can't just have an arrogant-ass incantation like that and be a okay guy. Just like be a, hello, fellow humans, I'm as normal as you. The shenanigans that took place at the house between the parents was pretty funny. Also, the conversations that we got between Barbara and Strickler, you know, were pretty good. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a solid 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video.